Hello, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be talking about some alternate means that I cook on if my stove in my house isn't working, or if I'm camping, or if by some chance I ran out of regular propane, because the stove that I cook on in my off-grid cabin is a gas stove, so I just run it off of 20-pound propane tanks. I find that is cheaper and easier than trying to have a propane company come in, because I don't want to pay someone monthly for my propane or my propane delivery. And also they can't make it in here during the spring or the winter, so I can lug in a 20-pound or 40-pound bottle of propane myself if I need it, but I usually don't. Living off grid, you do have to be as prepared as you can be, so I keep multiple propane bottles filled before winter. We just actually went and filled up about 8 of them. I think I have about 13 altogether in 2 40-pound tanks. I never use that much in one winter, but you never know, because I can also use it as a backup heating source, since I have the heater. I think they're heater toppers. I'm not sure what they're called, but they go right on top of the propane tank. And I also have a Mr. Buddy heater that I use to heat my shower house that can run off of the larger tanks, because I have the adapter. But propane is another story. Today I just want to talk about other ways that I can cook off-grid and camping. And I'm also going to show a way to make a couple of different fire starters that are cheaper than buying your own, and they're easy to make. I apologize, it is a little windy today, so hopefully it's not too loud in the background. And the first one I'll show you is just cooking like on a fire. I'm not going to build a fire today because it's so windy. I do recommend anytime you cook outside on a fire, like using any type of grate or anything, you have some of these grill gloves. They come in really handy. Your hands won't get burned. I'm going to put them on even though my grate's not hot, but it gets black obviously when you cook on it, so I don't want to get my hands all black. So cooking over the fire, I have this great grill here. It does have legs. You can make one of these on your own, but this one I think it was like $15 at Walmart, so I thought, why build my own when I can buy one for that cheap? And it's pretty thick metal. I've cooked on it several times. It hasn't lost its integrity at all. The grate is pretty thick, so you don't have to worry about burning it through. So you just build a little fire right under here and cook. I usually do put aluminum foil on here just because it's easier. Stuff doesn't drip through as bad, and it's just easier to flip it and turn it. So this is one of my ways of cooking outside or when I'm camping. And I have a few other ones to show you. Over a fire, you wouldn't be doing that on a table, but it was on a table just for the purpose of showing you. The rest of these types of cooking ways that I have, you could do on a table or the ground, picnic table, whatever you want. This second type of cooking item that I use is just a regular 2-burner Coleman type stove. I think this is actually, I'm not sure what brand this is. It's the same thing as a Coleman stove, but it's not that brand. So it has, I don't think we can see it a little bit. I gotta fix the camera. Here we go. It has the side thing so you can block the wind. It just hooks in like this. And then, don't mind this one, it's a little dirty. I haven't used it in a little while. So let me put this in here. You just put these in like this. And then this thing here is where this uses the 1-pound green tanks. You put your tank right on here after you put it into your stove, and the adapter, you just screw this in right over here like this. Might have to put it down to do it. You gotta push it in there all the way. There we go. And then once you have that screwed in like that, you just screw your tank in, and your tank sits here. And you do have to use a lighter or a match to light the burner once you turn the propane on. But it's very simple. It's a safe way to cook outside. It's easy, and it's portable. I just don't use it that often because it is large, and if I do go camping, it takes up a lot of space, and it's usually just me and tank camping, so I don't really need 2 burners. I only really need 1. So I use the next way that I cook. I use that one the most when I'm outside or camping, and I'll show you that one next. The third way that I can cook outside or while camping is just this little stove. It's actually an Ozark Trail from Walmart. It was only $15. You can buy more expensive ones like rocket stoves and other things like that. So far, I used this whole entire summer. It hasn't given me any trouble. So I'm gonna continue to use it where it was only 15 bucks. It can use either butane canisters or the little green cylinders. It has an adapter for that. If you just use the stove itself, it is set up for the butane. If you put the adapter on, you just twist it on like that, and then you can use it on the green canister for propane. I typically just use these butane ones. They seem to last a lot longer, and everything, in the end, they all cost about the same. It does have this little stand that you can put your canisters on. I don't even bother to use that. Honestly, I think this is kind of a waste. These cans are flat, so I just leave it on there. So that I keep it in here just because it came with it, but I don't use it. So all you have to do is screw this onto the cylinder and just make sure it's tight. You flip this little thing down. This is what controls how much fuel you have coming out. Once you have that pulled down, then you just take the little legs that your pot or cup sits on and you spread them out like this. And then it has these little things that flip out. I will say the only thing that this has been a little bit annoying is that these little legs get a little tight with the Ozark Trail one. I'm not sure if that happens with other brands. I haven't tried another brand yet. So I sprayed them with WD-40 and it seemed to loosen them up. But I think I need to do it again. They're a little tough. So all you do is that. This does have an automatic ignition, so you just, or like a little push ignition. So you just push this and turn your flame up, and then you can hear it. I think that's why they call it a rocket stove, because of what it sounds like. You don't really see the flame, but it's there. And then you just turn that knob back off. And that's it. So it's really easy. I have set a regular size frying pan on here, a regular size like quart pot on here. I do have some camping pans also. It doesn't really matter. The only thing you gotta make sure is you have it somewhere flat. Usually I have it like on a picnic table or a table that I bring with me. And just make sure you have your pot centered. I don't leave this, like with the Coleman stove, I'll walk away from that while it's cooking. This, I don't go very far where it's only this one thing like this, because I don't want my pot to fall or to cause anything like that to happen. So I just stand near my cooking. It does cook fairly fast. It gets pretty hot. So I'll actually show this. I'll actually use this a little later in the video when I make some of the fire starters I was going to tell you guys about. And then I have one more way that I cook outside, and that doesn't use either types of this fuel. So it's a great alternative, and I'll show you that next. All right, the final and fourth way I'll show you how I cook outside or while I'm camping is I use what is called a BioLite stove. It packs up into this small bag. It does have a grill feature that I will show you. And I just have this mat, which is just a heat-proof mat that I do put down, because if I'm gonna use it on the ground, or even if I'm using it on a table, I just like to put this down, because this BioLite stove does use wood. Or sticks or leaves, pretty much any biomass that you can burn in here to use it. So I will start taking this out and show you how to get this out and show you what it looks like. It does come with a, let me get this out, sorry. It does come with this container here, which can be used for boiling water, cooking food in, anything like that. It comes with this little bowl. I've never used that, but that's okay. And this is the top to this, and it does have handles. It also comes with a coffee press, so you can make coffee in here, kind of like a French press. I don't use that because if you have watched my previous video, I really have gotten used to instant coffee. I think it's a lot easier to use and it makes much less of a mess. So if you're interested in the recipe that I made up to make instant coffee better than just drinking it plain, you can watch my previous video. So this is that. I'm just gonna stick this lid on so I don't. It does have a rubber gasket, which is nice, so it seals pretty well. Actually, sometimes it's a little hard to get on, but once you get it on there, it seals pretty well. So, and I'll show you what else is in there in just a moment. So the stove is quite small, but it actually works really well. So this part here is the actual stove where you put your wood right here in this hole. And I'm going to show you this part. What's really special about this stove is it can cook your food, boil your water, but it also creates a little bit of power. So you can use this as a way to charge something small, like your cell phone, your headlamp, a lantern, anything small. So this is the battery pack here. It also has a fan in here, which helps burn this fire hotter or slower, depending on what you're trying to do or cook. And how it makes power is the flame hits this part here, which creates the power inside of here, which operates your fan and also allows you to charge things. It just has one USB, so whatever you charge, you have to use a USB. So if you have a USB-C type of thing, you just need an adapter. But I have several cords of both, so it works out fine for me. Sorry about that, it keeps getting a little windy. So to get this set up, you stick the little metal part, which creates the power, in there, and then you're gonna flop out the legs, because that's what actually locks this in place and also gives you, you know, a flat cooking surface with this. And what I actually do is, you can use, like I said, you can put regular sticks in here, leaves, whatever you find, which I would do if I wasn't prepared. As you can see, I reuse everything. This is a sleeping bag, but what I did was just took some cedar kindling that we had and cut it into little squares. Or actually, my dad did it for me one day when he was bored. So I just plop a couple of these in here, and then I either use a fire starter that I made on my own, or this did come with some already made up fire starters. Let me see where that is. Yeah, right here. It came with some of these, which is just, you know, oops, or you drop it. It's just like that compressed, I don't know, cardboard, sawdust, something. So all you do is, let me see if I can do it. It's pretty windy today, but I'm gonna try it. All right, so I got the little fire starter lighted after a few tries where it's so windy today. So I'm just gonna let that get going a little bit, and I'm gonna drop it right in here. And then once I see that it's going pretty good, I'll just throw a couple more of these in here. And you have a button on the side that turns on the fan. There it goes. And that air really helps get the fire going. I'm gonna drop a few more in. And once it gets going, it's pretty much smokeless. It's being a little smoky now because I got the fan going. That's all I'm gonna put in there for now because I'm not really gonna be cooking anything, but I just wanted to show you how easy it was to start. And you can change the level of the fan. So if you wanted to have a really, you know, a really high hot fire to make coffee or boil water, you can do that. Or you can put it on low if you just want to try to keep something warm. And then once you do is you just put your water in here, and this sits right on top of here. It fits in well, so you don't have to worry about it going anywhere. And you just wait for your water to boil, or whatever you're trying to cook in here. You can take this off and use it as a pan and cook in there as well. The thing about this stove is it does have these 3 humps right here. So I don't think you could really, you could probably sit something else on there. I would just watch it. This I don't have to worry about. It fits in there pretty good, and you don't have to worry. So then, sorry, it's super windy. I'm gonna pause again. Since it's really windy and I had to pause, I went and put a little bit of water in here since I have the fire going, and I'm gonna make some tea. So, but now it has water in there, so I turned the fan up all the way, and that way it'll just help this boil faster. And while I have that going, I will talk about the grill that comes with it as well. So this is the little grill that comes with it. It does have this plastic cover that you can use as a cutting board or a tray for your food. You just pull that off. It goes on there really well. And the grill looks like this. It has this little opening here so you can still fill the stove with wood as you need to. As you go, you don't have to take the grill off every time. It does have these two legs that fold out. So if I was going to take this off and I wanted to cook on this, I would just do that. And then you can grill right on top of here. It does work well. I have used it for, I had some chicken sausage and some other things that I had while I was camping, and it cooked it really well. As you can see, the flames coming out of there. I'm going to put my water back on there so I don't waste my little bit of wood. And I'm just going to set this down here because it got a little warm. But that is the grill that comes with it, so you can cook on it that way. And it also comes with this little, it comes with a cord so you can charge this battery pack on its own if you want. If you weren't going to have a fire and you just wanted to use it as a regular battery bank, it has a cord so you can charge it. And it also has this light that it comes with that just plugs right into the USB on the bottom of the battery bank. Whoops, let me just move that. And then you can have a light at night while you're cooking to see what you're doing. Or if you just want a light while you're sitting outside by your campfire, or if you wanted to bring this battery bank inside, you could use a light inside. So that is how this stove works. This is really one of my favorites when I go camping because I don't have to worry about carrying fuel with me. I can just bring my little bag of, wood squares, or if I don't remember to bring those, I can just pick up sticks, break them up and stick them in there and use them like that. So I'm going to put all this stuff away, and then I'll come back and just show you how I make a couple of quick fire starters that are easy to use and really cheap. Oh, actually, one other thing I wanted to add about this BioLite stove is they also make a BioLite grill. I have not got that yet, but I'm really interested in trying it because it also has a battery bank on it, and it's probably about this long. And you can cook on it like a regular grill, and besides having just like this little metal one. So if I do end up getting that in the future, I will definitely make a video about it. I'm very intrigued by it. But all right, so I got that stove out of the way. I got my tea that I made, and now I'll just show you how to make a couple cheap fire starters that are really easy and work really well. The first one is, the usual cotton balls with petroleum jelly. Or a lot of people know about this one. A lot of people just dip them in the petroleum jelly, or just like, hold on if I can get it open. A lot of people just do this, do it like this and get it on there, and that does work. I find that it works better if I melt this down and actually let them soak in there, and then they turn out like this. And you can pull them apart, and you don't even have to use one whole cotton ball to make a fire. So you just pull it apart. It's a little greasy, so there we go. Just pull a chunk off like that and light that, and it will burn for quite a few minutes, even if you only have part of a cotton ball. So I'll just show you how I do that. And I'm gonna get I have a paper towel here because they are messy. And the other one I'm gonna show you how to make is, I think a lot of people, I think there's a brand called Fat Wood or something like that out there. I just take wood that I have cut or shaved off with a knife, and I do the same thing. I melt the petroleum jelly, dip the wood in there. This lights like instantly and stays going even when it's windy. I was lighting them earlier today just to make sure they worked as well as I thought they did in the wind, and they were burning right along. And in this situation, I just put this in a can. I think I got these cans off of Temu. They were really cheap. And it just keeps somewhere I can keep it in my backpack. It keeps it dry. I know exactly what's in here. And I also have another one here that I put the cotton balls in that I have made. They're great little cans. You get different shapes, different sizes. You can get like 12 for a few dollars. They last a long time. I put other things in here as well. I use these little cans for lots of things. And if you don't have any cans to put them in, you can put them in a sandwich bag. You can put them in an old pill bottle. Make sure I get the labels off so it doesn't have any information on there. These work great for fire starters or even matches to keep them dry. So there's you don't have to buy a can or anything like that. You can use whatever you have to put them in. So with the wood, a lot of people, like, sometimes you do the wood, you just get like little shavings or little ribbons and to start a fire, which does work. I just find that if you have them coated in the petroleum jelly, they're much easier to light and they last a lot longer. So you just want to make sure that you use a knife that's, I try to make sure I use a fixed blade knife. I don't want any chance of it, the mechanism that keeps it from folding and unfolding, to fail, and then I get my finger. And I just kind of go at an angle on the wood. If I want a thicker piece, I just angle it a little bit more into the wood. And sometimes you only get a little piece and sometimes you get a big one. Let me see if I can get a big one off here. And there we go. So that one's a pretty good size to dip into your petroleum jelly. And then you can also, you know, break them a little bit and get them to fit in whatever container you want them in. Obviously, if you were out in the woods and you didn't have petroleum jelly, you would just want to shave the wood off and use it. And then you'd want some smaller pieces like ribbons. But I'm just getting some of the bigger chunks so I can dip them in the petroleum jelly. Because if you just wanted like a regular fire starter, you would do it and just have a lot less thickness. But so that's where I got that from, and I'm just cutting this off of a piece of the cedar kindling that we had laying around. So I had made a few before I turned the video back on, so I think this is plenty enough. And I'm gonna put this knife away. This is just another, I guess I'm on a Walmart kick today. This is just an Ozark Trail knife, but it came with a nice little sheath here that has a clip for your belt. So it might help if I put the knife in the right way. It clips on like that and clips on your belt. I mean, it's probably not the sharpest or the best knife, but I think it was like $5, so I'll take it. So I'm going to use the fuel method here that I showed you, cooking method here, to melt that petroleum jelly down. I just have an old camping pot that I don't use anymore, a small one. I don't make like these fire starters in bulk, so this little pan is plenty good enough. I just have a couple old metal camping utensils here. So I just scoop the petroleum jelly out and into this little pan. You can melt petroleum jelly in the microwave. I don't own a microwave where I live off grid, but if you didn't want to light a fire or you know, use a cooking method like this, you could just do it right in your house in the microwave or on the regular stove. Just make sure you use a pan that you don't want to use for anything else again, and some utensils. This is why I'm using these utensils for this, because I didn't like them. They unfold way too easy. So I now use them for these types of things. So I'm going to scoop a little bit more out just to make sure I have enough to cover what I have. I'm sure I have plenty. All right, I'm going to get that in here. And on the table here, I just have a piece of wax paper, parchment paper down. You could use wax paper, because when I take them out of the petroleum jelly, I just throw the sticks and the cotton balls on here and let them harden up again before I handle them and let them cool off a little bit. It just makes it a lot easier to deal with, and it's just one piece of parchment paper, so I don't waste that much. I don't want petroleum jelly all over my table or whatever else I'm using. So let me wipe my hands off here a little bit, and hopefully we'll get this stove lit with the wind. I might have to take it over there out of the wind, but we'll try it real quick. Move my sticks out of the way here. You do make a little bit of mess doing this, but it's not too bad. All right. Actually, it should light by itself. It has been, but every once in a while these... Oh, there it goes. Oh, maybe it didn't. Let me try it one more time. There we go. All right. So I'm going to turn that down for a second. And it doesn't take a whole lot to get this to melt, so I just hold it about on the fire and I keep stirring it. I don't want to get it too hot. I just want it enough to melt it. So I'm just going to keep spinning it around. I'm going to leave it on the heat for a second and take it back off. You just kind of watch it and play with it. It doesn't take long for it to melt. And there we go. Keep that going. right, that only took a couple extra seconds. It's all melted, so I'm going to shut that off. I'm going to move this out of the way. And I did go and grab the fireproof, the heat mat. I forgot because I want to set this on there. So now I'm just going to take a couple cotton balls. Well, actually, I'm going to do the wood first because the wood uses less. So all I do is just take this little bit of this wood at a time. I throw it in here with the melted petroleum jelly, Vaseline, whatever you want to call it. I think I have the off-brand. And I just dip it in there pretty good. And then I just take it out like that. Let it drip a little bit. Whoops. I don't shake it all off. I just let it drip like that. And then I just move it over here on the parchment paper. I'm going to throw what else I have left here in there. And dip it in there. It doesn't have to sit in there. The wood doesn't have to sit in there long. You just really want it to be coated. So there's that. Stick it over here. And yes, would it be a little bit easier just to buy a fire starter? Yes. But it's kind of a waste of money. I can make this wood with petroleum jelly really cheap. This thing of petroleum jelly is $1. The thing of cotton balls is $1. And you can make a lot out of this one little bag. And the wood we already cut at home for the wood stove. And so, I mean, the wood's virtually free because I got to use it to heat up my house. So that's that. So then I'm going to take the cotton balls and I just pull them apart a little bit. It just helps them get a little flatter and it helps it soak it up. I just drop them in there. And grab a couple more. And like I said, you can just dip them in there too, but where I'm melting it, I just feel like it works better and I can use less. I can get more out of one cotton ball if I do it this way. And then I just kind of roll them around in there for a second. And before I take them out, I just squish them because it is liquid right now, so I don't want to, you don't need to have it super saturated. I'm just gonna squeeze it. And I make sure I don't heat it so this isn't so hot that I can't touch it. I just need it heated enough to melt the petroleum jelly, which doesn't take much. So I'm just gonna squish these. And obviously if you squish them and get the excess out of them, you'll have more petroleum jelly in here to make more pieces of cotton. So let me squish that in there. All right, and then you just keep going until you've used up the amount of petroleum jelly that you melted. All right, now that I have them all saturated and they've sat over here and cooled off and hardened up a little bit, like I said, you can either put them in a can, a pill bottle, you just shove them in here, and you can cram quite a few in here, quite a bit. And you just push them all in there. I mean, when you do go to make a fire, they are a little greasy, but it's just petroleum jelly. It's probably good for your hands. And you just pull a piece out, rip it apart. And I'm gonna shove them in here. And then, oh, excuse me. Tank decided he heard something in the woods. But I will bring these over here, a couple of these over to the dirt and just show you how easy they burn and how well they work. Sorry for Tank talking over me. No, I love him. He's protecting the yard, so I don't mind. But I'll be right back and show you how well they burn. All right, so down on the ground, I have a piece of the wood and a piece of the cotton ball, and I'm just gonna light them. Hopefully this lighter works better than the other one, and show you how well they burn and how long they burn for. All right, so there it goes. And like I said, that is just one small piece of one of the cotton balls, and that is the wood with the petroleum jelly on the outside. They burn really well. Oh, Tank's still protecting the yard. And they burn for quite a long time. So it wouldn't take more than a couple pieces of that wood, or one, even half of a cotton ball, really. They burn really well. And it is windy today, and even in the wind they'll continue to burn. But yeah, so they're really good, cheap ways to make fire starters that are really easy to do. Anyone can do it, and they work really well. The cotton ball obviously makes a bigger flame, but if you put a couple of the pieces of wood together, they would make a larger flame as well. I just didn't want to waste them. And it also, obviously, if they're not sitting in dirt with no kindling or anything like that, they, you know, it's a little different. But if you had that under a little bit of kindling, your fire would start right up, even in the wind. So there you are. I'm going to let those burn right now. They've been burning for about 1.5 minutes. So I will pause and I'll let you know when they finally went out. So I just finished timing that. The little piece of wood burnt for just a little bit under 2 minutes. And that cotton ball kept burning for 4.5 minutes before it was gone. And it wasn't even a whole cotton ball. So I think they're very reliable fire starters. And like I said, easy to make. Anyone can do it. So thanks for watching the video where I could show you some cooking alternatives and some fire starting alternatives. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe. Share it with people if you would like. I would appreciate it. I think it's really important, living off grid or camping or whatever we do, to try to get the most uses out of everything that we have and everything that we can, especially with how expensive everything is. Please put in the comments what you like to use for cooking alternatives and what you use for fire starters. I'm always looking for new things to try and learn. Please also put in the comments what type of videos you would like to see. If there's anything you have questions about or wonder about how I live or the things that we do. I recently posted their Tanks and I's latest adventure. If you'd like to watch that, we had a good time up on the Golden Road. So as always, I hope you have a great afternoon, day. Live every day to the fullest and respect nature. And I'll go find Tank and let him say goodbye to everyone. He's over here protecting the yard, I believe, on the back side of the fence. Here's Tank. He was right here by this back part of our fence, looking out there. He was barking out there. I don't know what he heard or saw out there, but now he's decided to eat dirt out of my garden bed. I don't know why he does that, but if he wants to, I'll let him. Tinky, why don't you come here. Do you want to say bye? Look at the camera. I guess he's camera shy today. He doesn't want to say bye. There he is. All right. Well, everyone have a great day. And thanks for watching. See you next time.